So we're ready.
This is Jay.
This is A,
And this is Moxicated.
where we drop the booze and walk through the reality of life alcohol-free.
So grab your favorite mock, get ready to laugh, and let's get Moxicated. Hello.
How are you today?
I'm very excited. How are you today?
Very excited as well.
We have a guest, a wonderful, exciting, incredible
A very
guest.
exciting guest.
So we would like to introduce you to Kaila Yu.
Hi, thanks for having me. How are you guys?
Yes, we are so good. We're so happy to have you. So happy for our Moxicated listeners to get to hear from you. And so I guess just tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Kyla. I'm from Los Angeles. I've been sober 11 years. And I am an author, and I just wrote this book called Fetishized: A Reckoning with Feminism, Yellow Fever, and Beauty. And yeah, it's about like the fetishization of Asian women and kind of my experiences with it. But it also like goes over a lot of 2000s media, like Memoirs of a Geisha, touches on Mean Girls, the Harajuku Girls, Fast and Furious, and stuff like that.
Yes.
I first off just want to thank you for writing this book. I am married. My husband is half Korean. And
Oh,
yeah, and so I have a Korean daughter. And
oh, okay. So
yeah,
you're intimate with all these, yeah.
yes, it honestly, like, it even almost makes me want to cry right now thinking about it, just because as a white woman, we don't experience the things that Asian women experience. And two, just reading this, it was so eye-opening too for my daughter and just for the whole society, honestly. And I just think this book, I think everybody needs to read it, whether they have an Asian daughter or not. I think it's the information in it, because you're right, it does it in so many parts. I mean, I've seen Austin Powers, I've seen Mean Girls, I've seen all of these movies that you talk about, and it's like you don't even realize in Mean Girls, they're Asians are sexualized with the coach, and it's like you don't even it just flies so under the radar, I think, is what truly like hits home. And two, I have a lot of Vietnamese and Chinese women in my life. And so reading this, it just really, I was like, oh, like I had to take breaks because it made me feel so emotional just because of what Asian women, the stigmatism, the fetish, the all of it. It was huge for me personally to read. And I feel like it's really honestly going to help me be there for Quinn through
Yeah.
growing up. And two, I'm like, I hate white men.
No, but these are a small percent. I think there's so many amazing men. These are like some subset of like very vocal but minority men. Like they're not most men.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to my husband about it today, and I was just like, God. And when we got married, because so his mom had passed away when he was 16, so I didn't get the upbringing of the Korean mother and all of that. And so we had one of his mother's best friends come to our wedding, and she's full Korean. And she told me, which I was like, oh, thanks. But she told me, Asian women marrying a white man is an upgrade, but white Asian men marrying a white woman isn't an upgrade. It's a downgrade. And I just kind of sat there.
Oh my, wait,
Thank
did she just insult her own friend's
you.
son?
Yeah, but so it was and that was kind of the first time I even like obliviously realized, the race difference in us, because once again, just flies right under the radar. But yeah, so it all, like, this book was very, very important to me, and I'm just really excited to get to meet you and all of it. And to Tokyo Drift, I used to have the posters in my room, of all the Fast and the
Yeah.
Furious. My husband has an orange Eclipse, like
Oh, no.
all of it. So it was just kind of all
Yeah.
aligning. And then the fact that your name is her daughter's name, and
Oh yeah.
I
all
love
of
that.
it. We were just like, whoa, this actually
When
was
it
meant to be, you
Yeah,
know?
when it came across, your book came across, I think, without even reading it yet, seeing what the story you were telling, piggybacking off of what Al said, is just so like everybody needs to hear this. It is
And
so
all women
all
experience objectification, right? Like no woman escapes feeling that in our society, really.
And I think it's so important to touch on the 2000s and how, I was thinking about that too. Everything was so sexualized. Everything was so sexualized at that point in time. And that is when we were young and impressionable women growing up and figuring out who we wanted to be. And, for us to feel that sexualization at such a young age, and for you to then like show us your side of it and to incorporate all of these pop culture moments that we've all experienced together. It really is such a beautiful, way to tell that story that everybody can understand and everybody needs to understand. And before we even go any longer, 11 years sober is so
Yeah.
incredible. Like, yay, that is so awesome. And um we'll get into your sobriety, but let's get into the book a little bit and maybe start to tell us what made you want to write this book. Like, where were you at in life and you're like, this story needs to be told?
It was super accidental. I never wanted to write a memoir or like write this specific book, but like what happened was basically the pandemic. And then I'm a travel writer, and then all my work was canceled. So then I was like, oh, I'm just sitting there with a lot of free time. But I decided to learn TikTok because I thought that was, even as a writer, important to have a presence there. And I just started trying everything like food content, sobriety content, travel content, and like just seeing what would hit. But it's only when I started posting about like the 2000s era, like Asian American history. It was so specific of a niche and nobody was talking about it. So that just really took off. So I just like started creating that content for a year. And this is against the backdrop of like our administration calling the virus a Chinese virus.
Oh,
And then all of a sudden, there was this crazy Asian hate happening that I had never seen before. And we were seeing like old little Chinese ladies walking on the street and getting attacked like viciously by somebody. And this wasn't just one video, it was like dozens of videos like this. And then this was happening for a year. And then the Atlanta spa shootings happened,
mm,
where there was a sex addicted guy who went into a couple massage parlors that he frequented and shot a bunch of people in them, and six of them were Asian women. And then the media did not acknowledge that it was racially and sexually motivated, which, like, to the Asian community, very clearly is.
mhm,
Um, and then, yeah, we started having a lot of conversations about this within the community. And I started reflecting back to when I was a pinup model in my 20s and how I courted the male gaze and like found a lot of validation for that. And I played into some fetishes, like, and then how am I contributing to this greater problem that we're now seeing leads to violence?
mhm.
So that kind of just started the exploration. And I ended up like just making some content about that. And it just like people were very interested in the topic, and that eventually inspired the book.
It's so incredible, and I can't imagine how healing it can be. And even for like generations, like your line of generations that lives within you, for you to be able to bring a voice to this and show importance to this and give other people a chance to have their voice. I mean, I know in sobriety, how valuable that is, but for you to be able to do this for, an entire community, and when there was such a need, there was such a need for you to stand up, and tell your story. And so as we get into the book, um, we start, learning about you and where you were born. I don't know if you want to give any background on your growing up or if you just want to straight get into like the beginning stages of your career?
Yeah, whatever you guys prefer. I grew up in Upland, California, which was like a maybe 3 to 4% Asian place. And it was still like a very idyllic, like suburban, like we were safe and I lived in a very strict Asian household. And there's this stereotype of Asians as model minorities. So like we like follow the rules and we're nerdy and we like achieve. And I was really boy crazy as a teenager, and I did not want to be this nerdy model minority. And nobody paid attention to me or asked me to dances. And like, I was really devastated about that because I was boy crazy. So I think as I got older, I just like gravitated to sexier role models. I mean, I think this was during the time when Pamela Anderson was on Baywatch and she was like the goddess of the world. And then there were no Asian stereotypes at all that were equivalent. So I discovered online this model called Sung-hee Lee, and she's like a Korean Playboy model. And the men online were all in love with her, and I thought she was the most beautiful Asian woman I ever saw. And she was posing nude for Playboy, and I was like, oh, well, she's doing it and she's getting all this love and stuff. So that like kind of put the pin in my mind of me wanting to pursue that. But going back, like I feel like if I had Blackpink to look up to or like Ali Wong and all these varied people, I might have made different choices, but that was like the only role model I had. And it was also during the time where Playboy was a celebrated thing with Pamela Anderson and all of that. By the way, off topic, I'm loving Pamela Anderson's
Oh,
reinvention as a non-sexy
oh my gosh.
woman who doesn't wear makeup and she's a Naked Gun and falling in love with Liam Neeson. Like everything about that
And
I love so
he's
much.
obsessed with her and she's
Yeah.
baking and like gardening. I know, I literally have
I
chills.
Yeah.
You said her name, I was like, don't bring it up, don't bring it up, don't. But it really is such an incredible brand and such an incredible example of taking your power back.
Yeah, because she was a victim. That sex tape that was stolen
oh,
from her tape that she made with the love of her life was stolen. And they pretty much told her, we're not taking it off that you've been nude in Playboy. Why is this a problem? Like, that was what the courts ruled, and it ruined her career. Like
Mhm.
she never recovered from that. But now, as a society, we're looking back at the 2000s and saying, "Oh, we did Britney Spears and Janet Jackson and Monica Lewinsky." Like where I think in that way of a dark time where there's a lot of scary stuff happening, I think we are still making progress, for women's feminism or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and so have your role model, and from there, I mean, honestly, I kind of want to go and touch back because it's so true when you think about Ali Wong, because I feel like she is so sexy and she is so cool and she's so
Cool.
funny.
Yeah.
It's like funnier than the men. You know what I mean? And so that is such a very, very important point of representation and who is out there for young women to be like, yes, that person not only looks like me, it feels like me. That's what I want to aspire to be. And, that wasn't existing back then.
Yeah, it was unfathomable. Like now, I think we've made exponential progress because it's like there's K-pop on the radio. That's still very mind-blowing to me. Like that, like there's this big event in Los Angeles called K-Con, which is like the big Korean K-pop thing. And when you go to it, it's not even mostly Asians at the event. And it's like, what? Like this is unfathomable to me growing up. Like I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So it does really show that we can grow and change as a society.
Yes, totally. And I mean, back then for us, we were like in such an impressionable age, and MySpace was huge for us.
Yes.
Yes.
We thought we were MySpace queens,
Yeah.
the age of, how 15 years old,
Yeah.
trying to, code on MySpace. But tell
Yeah.
us about your experience because you had some experience on MySpace also, right?
Yeah, so I had been pursuing pinup model for several years, and then I ended up getting into the car show industry, which was a niche audience within the Asian American community. But it was very big because we had nothing else. So this was like our community, and everyone was obsessed with it. And it ultimately inspired the Fast and Furious series, but that's like kind of forgotten. But I had been doing this a while, and I gained a following. And what I'd actually, were you guys on Friendster? That might have been before you.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember too. I think we were a little bit younger, and so we weren't able to get on Friendster yet. MySpace, we were like the youngest people allowed on MySpace at the
Yes.
time, like
Yes.
lying
oh,
about
was
our
there?
age.
Yes.
Oh, there was an age limit. Did you
Yeah.
have to like show an ID, or how did you prove you were of
I don't
age?
remember. I think
I know once you got to Facebook, you had to have a college email.
Yeah.
yeah,
But I can't remember how they did it on Facebook.
or on MySpace. I
I
can't
mean, on
remember either, but I
MySpace.
remember having to like fake some of the info and then like trying to figure it. We just wanted to be on
Yes, but we
MySpace.
were not on Friendster.
No, but I do remember Friendster
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I was on Friendster and I loved it because it was like a yearbook where like all your friends would just write amazing stuff about you and it would just like be up on the wall. Um, and that was like the only point of the website, I think. But like what happened is that they couldn't handle all the traffic that was coming to Friendster, and then it ended up just like petering out because like they weren't equipped for this traffic. And so back then, MySpace Tom was just starting MySpace, and he just started inviting people to join, like, come to my website. We can handle the traffic, basically. So I joined on early on. And then this was also coming during the time when I was thinking of pursuing a music career. I had never thought I could pursue music because there was no role models. But like once I got my own following, I was like, okay, well, I have this own thing that I control and I could like ask them to come to my performances or whatever. And then MySpace came around and it just seemed really like fortuitous timing because it was a website based on music. Like it was a website for musicians. That's how it was designed originally. So I like uploaded my music on there and just like started to grow really quickly on there. And that MySpace really gave me the platform to pursue a music career. Like without it, I don't think that would have been a thing for me.
I saw something, and I don't know, I don't believe everything you read on the internet sometimes, but that you had like 9 million downloads of your music on MySpace.
Some million. I don't know if it was 9 million, but yeah, some
That
million.
is
Yeah.
incredible, especially because back then, like it wasn't like it is today. And so to have that many people coming and that many downloads to your music is incredible and must have felt incredible for you to build it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a really empowering time for Asian Americans because a bunch of like indie musicians started to launch their careers from there because record labels were not signing us. So then we had to go build our own platforms. And MySpace was huge and it was built for that. It was built for music discovery. So it just really helped all kinds of indie artists, not just Asian ones, like indie artists from every walk of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you able to then pursue, well, we know what happened, but like from there, so you get these downloads on MySpace, you have this music career, and then the next step like is for you. What was that next step?
Well, okay, during this time I was doing like tons of drugs and alcohol. I think I was searching for validation through this music career and through this pinup modeling, and it was never, when you seek for this outside validation, it's never nourishing.
Yeah.
So then I would be doing drugs, and that would be partially, it like feels validating for the 1 hour you're high on cocaine or whatever. Um, but I was pursuing this music career as a solo artist and I was having some success, but then my cocaine usage got really bad and I just kind of burned it to the ground. And then I started over again with my girlfriend who happened to be Korean and we started a band together. Um, and then we had some white guys in the band and then we were playing a bunch of dive clubs around LA. But eventually, like the white guys would leave and get replaced by a talented Asian girl musician. And then once they were all Asian girls, then it was like, oh, you're a girl band and you're like all Asian. We've never seen that before. So then it became like its own niche.
Yeah.
And then we were able to tour with that. But there was always like the ceiling. Like if you would get to record labels, they would be like, oh, cool, you guys are touring, but we don't know what to do with you. We don't know what to make of this or how to market this. So it gave us the opportunity, and it was also like hard to break out beyond that.
And once you're already, using drugs and alcohol for validation, and then you get kind of catapulted into this position, I'm sure that the opportunities to do drugs and alcohol just got bigger.
Yeah, and then plus everybody else was a drug addict. So like then I was a like addict with myself, but now like when you're in a band, you could always be like, well, I'm not as bad as that one, you know? So you could always justify your drug usage in comparison to people who are much worse.
Yeah, and two, I mean, you had open bar tabs at everywhere you were playing, so it was like almost fed to you, like
Yeah.
here's our gift while you play, almost.
Yeah.
So the just having it free too and just flowing kind of. I mean, it's hard to say no. We would have never said no.
Right? Yeah, even
We
if just
were
anyone in their 20s.
Yeah, we were emo girls and went to all the shows at like small shows, dive bars, like
Yeah.
everywhere. And even when you describe in the book like your guys' style and even I can't remember which one, but like the leopard fur coat with like the just the mismatched patterns, all of it. I was like, this is Jesse and I. Oh
Were
my
you
God.
guys Audrey Kitching fans and
Yes, I
Jeffree Star? Yeah,
Yes,
that's
Jeffree
nice.
Star.
Yeah,
Oh my God. I like
like
even
back in the
dubbed
day,
him like Jeffree
yes,
Star. Like I
of course.
pretended like I copied his exact photos, dressed up like him. Like, yeah, yes, Jeffree
Well,
Star.
but like I'm just like picturing like the pictures we took and like out the cereal into the cereal bowl
Yeah,
and I'm like
all of
it was
it.
just so MySpace. It was just so 2000s. It was just
Yeah,
of its
it's a
time.
ridiculous time.
I,
Yes.
and I've said this recently. I can't remember who I was talking to, but it's like, every era has its time and it's in that little bubble where it exists. But the 2000s, like, I don't think there's ever anything like it. There's nothing to explain. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way to explain it. If you lived it, you understood, and you understood all of these things we're talking about, the sexualization, the partying, the drinking, the MySpace coming about, and it just really I think it wrote the story for what so many of us are living now and why your book is so important, to all of our generations because we remember that time and however it affected us now, we're seeing it play out in our own lives and we're understanding like all of the bad stuff.
Because you didn't notice it at the time, yeah. Or we were on too much drugs and alcohol to really be
They're
aware of
partying.
anything,
We
yeah.
were having fun. We thought, but fun was. Oh my gosh.
Um, Okay, so what did the modeling and the acting come before Nylon Pink, or was that? Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that was before. And I was never like that into acting. I hate memorizing stuff. But like I feel like everybody, if you're in the entertainment industry and you're acting adjacent, everybody's just trying to dabble in it because it's still like acting's fun or like I liked to be on camera for validation. But like all the roles that I auditioned for at the time were all prostitute or massage girl. Or I'd get offered kung fu fighter, but I don't know martial arts, so that wouldn't qualify. And then it always had me like speaking, or you have to speak in a broken English accent, which I don't even know how to do, right? So I just
I
like
mean,
come up with a really bad one.
yeah.
Yeah, there was an example of this movie I auditioned for, Marco Polo, which is I think only 10 years old. And the audition sides that came, the description of the character was like the most dangerous fuck in all of Asia or something. And there was literally a description. The audition was a sex scene, first of all. And then second of all, in the description, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact words, but it was basically like his jade sword entered her like lotus flower, and
I
it was
when
like,
I read that, I was like, oh, I would why who wants to audition for that? Like
yeah.
like, excuse me? Like, okay, I'm gonna willingly go set myself up like for this on purpose. Like,
Yeah.
you like I have the chills on my whole body. And I think I did most of the book too, because it's just like, excuse me? Like, like, oh, I just can't imagine.
But it's crazy because like we feel this, but it's like any actress would have taken that role. It was a like life-changing lead role. But it was like, oh, this is horrible, but this is like all that's available. So
It just really speaks, to what your community has experienced because it's like in order to even get on camera, in order to even get this experience of a lifetime, you are having to fulfill some type of negative stereotype or something like that that is at some point you've had to overcome or battle yourself. And so it's just like, you know, that's what's that like you said, that's all that's available for us. So in order to get to where I want to go, I have to put myself in this position. And I think as white women of privilege and all white people of privilege, we are not privy to this stuff. We don't understand, and that's why it's so shocking, when you hear, but when it comes from you, you're like, no, this is what we're used to. Like, we know that we have to take these roles in order to be on camera. And again, another really important reason why you're telling this story because there's just so much ignorance out there about what truly goes on in these situations behind closed doors.
yeah, it's interesting. I just think it's so important for us to just all share our stories because everybody's going through it and everyone's like going through something that like another person can't hasn't experienced and you wouldn't know unless you had conversations and were open to that. I think like the world would be a much more compassionate place if we could just like share our stories and be compassionate to them.
Yeah,
Yes, totally.
totally.
We're here for the storytelling.
Yes.
And so on that note, you got sober.
Yes.
What led to
That part of it was just like, oh, I'm old and this is not cute anymore to be like high all the time. Partially it was that, but it was also really difficult for me because I was a periodic. So it didn't seem like it was a problem because it was like, oh, I need to like go on tour next month. I'm gonna stop for a month. But the minute I landed back in the States, I would like go crazy. And the one thing was I never did drugs overseas because I watched, have you seen Broke Down Palace?
Oh my
It's
gosh.
such a scary movie,
Yes.
right?
It's a terrifying movie.
Yeah.
Yes, that scared me straight to ever like fuck around, like in Asia, especially where it's like the death penalty or like the worst prison of your nightmares. So I would always get sober if I had to like do something overseas. So I was like, I don't have a problem. Like, if you're alcoholic, could you really stop for this amount of time? The funny thing is that I got into the recovery community through Debtors Anonymous. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. But like I had money problems. Like I would earn money and I just like, why is it like not staying and why don't I have any savings? Why do I have tens of thousands of dollars of debt? So when my friend who was in AA, he was like suggesting AA, I was like, I don't need that. But when he suggested Debtors Anonymous, I was like, oh, well, because I was already going to these workshops and like trying to like speak to financial coaches to figure something out, and I just could not figure it out. And I ended up going to Debtors Anonymous, and I was like, oh, this is free. Like all this financial help is free. And I just ended up working the steps in that program and like finding a spirituality and like it cleaned up my financial like I mean slowly it took a couple years but it cleaned it up. And then my sponsor in that program was like, "Oh, maybe you should look at your cocaine usage. And I was like, oh. Um, and then I had had some recovery and I was like, my life is still miserable in some ways. I don't know why, because I'm like doing all this work. And then I was like, yeah, maybe I'll take a look at, let me just try getting sober and see if it changes anything. And it just eventually transformed my entire life. So, um, but I did relapse a couple of times before I finally got sober. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a weird journey to sobriety, actually.
It's so interesting, and I think that that's a big part of why Allie and I do what we do is because there are so many people out there that think that there really needs to be an evident problem to walk away. And even when you are in these hard partying like places where you're partying hard yourself, like you said, there's always someone worse. There was probably always someone that was bringing the drugs overseas that couldn't stop, and so
Yeah.
like, yeah, and that kind of that's the society's kind of view of like it has to be a problem to stop. And I think that's such a cool way to kind of come to it because we always talk about the trickle effect. And we always talk about how once you start healing or putting, effort into one part of your life, it trickles down into other areas. And
Yes. Yeah.
evident of that, and for it to come from like a different step program, a different source to trickle down, and so cool and important. And I really like that. That's one of the most unique ways I've heard of giving it. I love
Yes.
that so
Yeah.
much.
How did you guys get sober? Are you guys in program or just because my best friend is sober without program and she's like super, super, she just doesn't need it. She's great.
The two of us are so different. I need it. I feel like I partied hard. I blacked out. And I probably needed to stop drinking just for my own benefit. I didn't think I was an alcoholic either, but I did like quit cold turkey. I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
program.
And same for me. I quit once I got pregnant. If I
Mm.
wouldn't have gotten pregnant, I don't know if I could have ever quit. Truly, I don't think I would have ever. I needed a reason to. And same with Jess. I mean, we partied hard. We were we were emo girls, MySpace girls, like, like putting the show on and um yeah, we drank heavily in high school. A lot of the book too, even. I've just related so much of having that one girlfriend that brought you to like the boys, and then you would like, I was so shy, and I'm like, oh my God, is he gonna touch, like, am I gonna have to hold his hand? Do I have to talk to this guy? Like, seriously, so much of your journey, I was just like, God, like, it's crazy how it's happening, and how
Yeah.
it happened and all of it. But
I
yeah.
loved I loved hearing about how you're an introvert and your dad was an introvert, and the fact that like you come from this introverted place, but you're able to come and have a platform. And I think that it's cool for introverts like us when we're at this place where we're comfortable in our platform to look back and see all the things we were trying to do that were not us because
Hmm.
we're introvert, we're just a little bit different, that we did, and we're like, the drugs helped, the alcohol
Yes,
really helped
yeah,
with
really
that.
helpful.
And to put us out there, in front of people, we needed kind of something else. And then throughout that all, we're still able to have like our voice and have it be comfortable for us without the drugs and
Yeah.
alcohol.
Yeah, I feel like the best part of sobriety is just learning to be comfortable in your skin because I just was born probably not comfortable in my skin for whatever reason. And nobody taught me that you could be comfortable in your skin. But when you were on drugs and alcohol, you were comfortable and super confident. But once that was out of your body, it was back to the same feeling. So just like doing the therapy work and just like self-love work and being comfortable in my skin, I think it's the most priceless gift. I don't think I would have that at all if I was still like getting high or drinking or whatever.
Do you feel like your your experiences with being over sexualized kind of ramped your drinking and drug use up because you were having to put yourself back up into those situations?
Absolutely. I feel like, I I love sex as much as the next person, but I don't think I'm naturally like a sexually whatever person that would lead with sex. That's not my natural personality. But I led with sex because I got cash and prizes for it, as young women do. That's like the way our society is unfortunately structured. So then I was like, oh, I'm getting another magazine cover or like more money to go on this tour, like because I keep like sexualizing myself. And then it for sure wasn't feeling authentic to my truest self. But yeah, the drugs totally helped numb it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you got out of that, mindset and you were sober, and here you were smack dab in the middle of people still using and still drinking, how were you able to continue or to like kind of pull yourself out of that? And yes, there's a couple of relapses, but like stay strong with your sobriety.
Well, ultimately, I quit the band, and that really helped. Yeah. I mean, I think I only got fully sober when I quit the band because I was trying to get sober at the tail end of the band, but I kept relapsing because I'd be in these situations and temptations or whatever. But I think just like quitting the band and just being stationary. And for me, I just like go to a lot of meetings. LA has some of the best recovery in the world, so that really helps. And I just like have so many friends who are sober. So just I think part of what's hard about getting sober is a lot of people think like, am I ever gonna have fun or be fun again? You know?
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like you're actually much more present for a lot more fun now. And
Yeah.
then it does help to have sober friends though, because there are always like drinking friends who like are uncomfortable if you're not always drinking with them. And that's unfortunate. But yeah, for me, it was just like really getting into the community and surrounding myself with like-minded people.
Amen.
I know,
Like the sober
seriously.
community, a lot of people I don't think realize how much it helps, because they're like, well, you like we're so lucky because we're best friends and we're sober, and you even said your best
Yeah.
friend's sober too. And
Yeah.
so, but we do have friends that are sober that don't have sober people around them.
Mm.
Like, wow, or like husbands that don't like support the
Oh,
sobriety.
that's really hard. Yeah, if you're a romantic partner.
Gosh, yeah. And it's crazy how much we see that. And we're
Yeah.
just like, oh, like how do you do it almost? And so it's true that the sober community it's
Well,
great. And now with technology, you can hop on a Zoom, you can,
Yeah.
anywhere.
meet a lot more sober people if you don't have them in your physical community.
And it's so cool too. I almost got like a tin, not like bad jealousy, but like it's cool to hear of like a sober community thriving in LA. And I know that it is, and I know that I feel like LA sober community is growing probably faster than any other place. And I mean, I was there last week, and I walked into a shop and randomly started talking to the guy, and he's sober 5 years,
Oh, wow.
It was so cool, and I feel like having that community in a place that also experiences such high partying is so valuable because it's like, temptation is a stone's throw away, but I also have this huge community here that it's like they're not, I'd rather go hang out with them than over, where that is. And so it's so beautiful to hear and see about that happening. And I
Yeah,
think
it's great just to never have to do the walk of shame again because it's
Oh,
so painful when the birds start chirping and it's not pleasant. Like now it's pleasant that the birds are
yeah,
chirping, but before it's like, oh no, you know.
totally. And to have your best friend, I think that that is so cool and so unique, especially a best friend that was in the trenches of partying with you.
Yeah,
Such a victory.
because not everybody gets it.
No.
Like, really, I think the only other sad thing about being in a sober community is that you see a lot of relapse. And sometimes people don't come back from the relapse because like the thing with um alcoholism and all of that is that it's like progressive. So if you start drinking again after being 10 years sober, it's just as bad. Like you just drink at a heavier level and your body can't take it because yeah, so um it's just I think important to stay in the middle because of that, because relapse is like a real problem.
Well, and we have talked about too, as you get older, your bodies just they're different and you handle things differently and you handle injuries differently and you don't realize that until it happens, and when you're drinking and partying, you're putting yourself in so much more of a position to hurt your body or to get sick. And it's like we do not come back the same way we used to. I'm just trying to do everything I can to feel good when I wake up sober,
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Yeah.
And so after you got sober and thought, okay, I'm quitting the band and making something new for myself, what was that for you and where are you now?
Yeah, it's crazy because like I all my life I've been like chasing these validation dreams, but then once I got sober, I was kind of like I don't know what I want to do with my life because I like have been making poor choices and I really so I have like a whole spiritual practice and like a relationship to God or whatever, but like I really wanted to connect with like what I should be doing instead of what my ego wanted to be doing. And so I just started to like take the next indicated action. I would just like see, okay, when you see things are moving in this direction, I'll follow that. And I eventually got led to travel writing, which is super, super random. Um, and I love to travel. And um, I discovered slowly that I love to write, even though it was never something I was doing before. And it kind of launched a career. And it's just so fulfilling to be a writer because I think in my 20s, I chased such ego-based careers that were dependent on youth and looks. But as a writer, these things don't matter. So it's like, it's just so refreshing because it's so hard. I would have such a hard time still pursuing those careers now because it's just like it's against women aging, right? Which is unfortunate, and that is something we need to change. But right now, that is the way it's set up. Although I love that Pamela Anderson is changing that. Yeah.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful, it's such a beautiful place to be in your story to start from seeking validation through, sexualization, being seen whatever way you could, to now being at the end of it. And like the validation you get is from your words and your wisdom and your knowledge and the stories that you tell. And you never have to be, we never have to see your face to know your value.
Mhm.
Sense.
Yeah, and it's only because of sobriety that I would have found my way there. Like if I was still not sober, I would probably just be flailing around, like finding some other entertainment, like maybe trying to be an actress or something, like the horror. The acting, yeah, I would. It's such a tough time with AI right now. I feel for the entertainment industry.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you even talked about how you used to get gigs, you would have to, truck along and it would be so long. And now they're just like, "Hi, all right, on the Zoom call, like on
Yeah.
calls and stuff." You're like, you don't have to do anything now
Yeah.
to get a job." Like, I was lugging my whole makeup kit and like outfits and all of the things that we all kind of forget about, that like there wasn't always this technology that we're also like drenched in. It's like, no, before this, you had to go in person and show up and like,
Work.
yeah, just all of
Yeah, it's insane that you could just tape your auditions.
it.
Yeah. And amazing. Yeah. Amazing progress
Yes.
too.
I feel like it's insane and amazing all
Yes.
in one time. But gosh, and it's so beautiful too, because traveling, I mean, I know you said you were sober when you traveled before for gigs, but like to be sober and to be able to just travel everywhere, it just feels so free. Like when I think about that life, I think about freedom because there's nothing that's tying you down anywhere, you know? Like it's
Yeah, because we were always traveling with the band, but you do not really actually get to see very much. You're like, you come and you play a show, and then you're off to the next city. And before the show, I was always stressed out. So if we were like touring around and walking around the city, my mind was not on, like, my mind was like, oh, I hope we don't fuck up the show tonight. And then after the show, maybe I'm really high because it's good, but half the time something would go wrong, and then I'm in a bad mood. Touring is awful. But yeah, now that I travel, I don't have any of these concerns. It's just like pure experience.
Yeah.
so amazing. Well, thank you so much for like all of everything that you've done. And I think your book is going to be such a game changer. And we've already said it's such an important story to hear and to tell. So tell us when your book comes out.
Yeah, it's out on August 19th and it'll be in stores everywhere on audiobook also. So yeah, you could just find it at your bookstore.
Yay!
Yes. I already pre-ordered the audio, even though I read the PDF on my, I'm like, oh my
Ah,
listen usually.
She's a
And
listener.
so I haven't like actually sat and read because I mean I listen to like 3 to 4 books a week.
yeah, yeah,
That's
it's the
it.
easier way to read.
Even my husband's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm reading. I'm reading." And yeah, no, it was just such a great book. Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you so much for reading it. Yeah, that's like means so much.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for everyone around to get to read it.
Yeah.
I definitely will. Well, we'll be tagging and doing all of the stuff and make sure that all our followers know about it. So.
Yeah, we can even put like a pre-order link and stuff so everyone knows where to get it. Before we let you go, do you have any last thoughts, advice, anything for women that have been in your position, women that are currently in your position?
I am, did I already mention I'm obsessed with this book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It?
No.
Yes, I highly recommend it. It's not a long read, but it's all just like the most important thing in life is to love yourself because then you're able to be compassionate and give. So my advice to young women would be, first of all, read this book, but like prioritize loving yourself than like outside validation. That's like self-love can never be taken from you. Outside validation's temporary.
Oh, I love that
So
so
good.
much.
Well, thank you so much, Kyla.
Yes.
And
Thank you guys.
wish you nothing but the best. All of our listeners are going to read your book and we're going to listen to it again when it comes out. And congratulations on 11 years. And we will be over here cheering you on.
Yay, thank you. Keep in touch.
Thank you, babes. Love you.
Thank
Soon.
Bye.